Yeah, I do yo. Trophied up, yeah. I do yo. Trophied up. Do your dance when the G's up. Spaced out, got me geeked up. 10 toes on the west, can I beat us? You cannot. Shining every time they meet us. Rack 'em up, since 96. Been number one in LA, something slight, that's the gist.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 3. Tonight we have the original cast back. To the right of me, you got Galaxy Runs LA. How you doing, man?
Doing good, doing good. Made my
And
first appearance was a few weeks ago. Now I'm making my full debut for the season.
yeah, I know you made a little brief cameo, but it's
Yeah.
time to get the starter minutes right now. I know Andrew and Dylan had you playing off the bench, but
Yeah.
um, below me is Galaxy Memes. Galaxy Memes, how you doing?
Yo, please tell me y'all can hear me.
Yeah, we can hear you. We can't see you, but we can hear you.
All right, that's good.
All right.
All right.
Um, anyway, we got a lot of Galaxy news today from the past week. Um, right now, we're advertising into all the socials. Make sure you spread the word, like and subscribe if you already haven't. If this is your first episode of Talkin Galaxy, man, you're in for one tonight. We got a lot to chat about, and we're going to start with Tyler Boyd. I know last podcast we kind of talked about, could Tyler Boyd end up coming back to the Galaxy? Is this a possibility? Obviously, that winger spot is something that perhaps the Galaxy need a little more depth in right now. However, it's not, he ended up signing with LAFC. He ended up signing with LAFC. This is a little quote when he was a Galaxy player. I love this club and have since I was a kid. Once a G, always a G. Obviously, this was his boyhood club. I've heard a lot of mixed reactions on this. So yeah, Tyler Boyd was making $1.1 million, about Diego Fagundes' salary. Came off of an ACL injury, never really took off with Nashville, but ended up getting waived. He went through the waiver wire, and LAFC ended up picking him up. Tab, thoughts on this?
You know, it sucks just because he was such a kind of a cult hero for Galaxy, but I think overall the trade for him going to LAFC, I mean, he's not a great player anymore. He hasn't been the same player since he tore his ACL. I was with the Galaxy. He wasn't fantastic. He's not like a crazy star. Like I think if he were to join the Galaxy, he definitely wouldn't be starting over JP or Peck. But it just sucks because he was so loved here, and obviously this is his boyhood club as well, LA Galaxy, and going across town probably because this is the only option he had. He had to bet on himself and go to a hated club. I think he made multiple posts about this on Instagram. I think this was a quote from his final post saying goodbye to the Galaxy. So
Yeah,
it sucks, but I mean, I don't think he's a player he was when he was with the Galaxy.
yeah, certainly not. Memes?
Yeah, spot on from Tab right there. It always hurts when a cult player leaves the club. A player like his caliber. I mean, he wasn't the best, but he made what was due for that season. A pretty bad season for us, and he was always scoring against LAFC. So it's tough for him to see him leave, but I doubt he'll have the success he had over here with us. He's coming back from an ACL injury, hasn't played on over a year, so it's gonna be tough. So yeah, always hurts to see a player that we love leave to rivals, and yeah.
Yeah, this guy was a certified LAFC killer. I mean, during his time at the Galaxy, I was largely advocating for him to come back and for them to use one of the DP spots that we used on a winger on a number 9 instead, because I thought that what he did for us was very productive, at least for the salary that he's making, even if he needed a little, bump, which he did get with Nashville. I just really felt he should have came back to the Galaxy team. And luckily, I'm not the general manager of the LA Galaxy because the production out of Joseph Paintsil and Gabriel Peck was significantly more, which was a huge thing going into that offseason. I think a lot of people, when Tyler Boyd left, were like, why would we do that? He's one of our most productive players. But they end up replacing him. And it's a good replacement when you literally replace a cult hero. And nobody really cares. Nobody really cares because Joseph Paintsil and Gabriel Peck were that good in 2024 for the LA Galaxy. obviously ended up leading them to, the MLS Cup. So doesn't get much better than that. But Tyler Boyd was a cult hero, LAFC killer. It just felt like he loved this club. When I saw that news, I was a little shocked. I feel like he's one of the players I least would expect to go to LAFC. But who knows what he has left? I don't think he's as young as he was anymore. He's not the same type of guy. So I just who knows what version of Tyler Boyd they're going to get. But I think either way, they might get a very productive player for them. And, hopefully he just doesn't produce over there and he could end up going somewhere else within Major League Soccer. So, best of luck to Tyler Boyd. Moving on from that, I got a lot of flack on that post for calling him Judas. but it's just, we're adding memes back. Oh man, we are so back. I got a lot of flack for calling him Judas, and I understand that it wasn't entirely his decision, that he's making that for the betterment of his family to be able to get a salary and move back to Los Angeles. It adds to the rivalry for sure. It adds to how heated El Tráfico is. It also extends the pipeline of players who've gone from LAFC to the Galaxy and Galaxy to LAFC. Which is something you didn't see a lot at the start of the rivalry, but with time, I think it's becoming a lot more frequent. We can't hear you memes. With the last one being Mark Delgado. So Tyler Boyd, wish I could say best of luck, but I can't. So moving on from that,
before we move on, I have a little trivia question. Can you name all the players that have moved from Galaxy to LAFC or vice versa? I believe there's 8 or 9.
I can't name all of them. I'm going to start with Nico Hämäläinen. Really weird place to start. Obviously, you had Mark Delgado. Now you have Tyler Boyd. You have, I'm trying to think. There was really 8 or 9 players that's moved between Galaxy and LAFC.
I think it's around that.
That's a lot. Chat, if you could help me out a bit here. I can only 8. Memes, do you have any other players that moved from Galaxy to LAFC and vice versa?
No.
Edwards, McCarthy. Yeah, I forgot about McCarthy. Yeah, I forgot. Saldana, Ramirez, Edwards. Okay, yeah, I forgot quite a few there. So you put me on the spot. That's an interesting little pipeline there. I feel like players have had more success with the Galaxy, I want to say, from that list, if I'm not mistaken. I feel like some of those players have had more success with the Galaxy. I mean, McCarthy kind of split even because he was actually a starter for us in one MLS Cup. So I'd say maybe even did a bit better for us than he did for them. Yeah, I mean, shoot. The pipeline continues, everyone. Next, we got Amiro Garces news. We got a rumor that Amiro Garces could be heading to Brazil, Internacional. In Brazil, we're interested in acquiring Amiro Garces. Apparently, he's been a player that's been on their radar for a little bit. This source seems somewhat, credible. Look, there's a lot of a difference between teams being interested in Amiro Garces and actually submitting a bid for Amiro Garces, because I think when you ring up Will Kuntz, the figure that he's going to want for a player of his caliber is going to be something that, a team in Brazil probably doesn't want to pay for a center back. What do you guys value Amiro Garces at right now? What is a transfer offer you'd accept for him? I'll put you back on the spot, Tab.
That's a tough question because you don't really see many center backs moving from Inter MLS to out. The last one I can think of is, I can't even think of one, but I know Inter Miami just signed Mikael from Palmeiras, and I think he went for $2 million. So I think Garcia's got to be around that point, maybe $2-3 million. Obviously, we have the replacements to kind of back him up if he does leave. So maybe if a bid does come this summer, maybe later in this transfer window, I think we're going to be fine. But I think this is going to be his breakout season, so I hope we keep him for this one last season.
So did I hear the price tag of $2 to $3 million?
Yeah.
That feels low.
It does. I mean, center backs in general, I feel like MLS, they just don't go for that much.
Yeah. Names, do you have a different price tag on Amiro Garces?
Yeah, I do. I'm gonna go with like 4 to 5 million, just because he's a younger center back. He's really good in my opinion. Non-biased opinion, obviously. But yeah, 4 to 5 million. Anything less than that, I think we got robbed. But yeah, I don't see him leaving yet.
Honestly, I mean, right, it's center back tax. Center backs don't go for them on attack. Attackers did. If there was a attacker of the quality of Amiro Garces, he'd be going for about, $10 million. But it's just the fact he's a center back. Yeah, with the sell-on clause is an interesting one. I think if the Galaxy ever did sell him, it would definitely have to come with the sell-on clause because, especially to Brazil, seeing a potential move to Europe in the future, they definitely want to cash in on that. And I know we've utilize that a bit. I would go 5 at least for me. If I'm the Galaxy, I'm holding on to Amiro Garces for as long as, physically possible. So there's no pressure to sell him really. And if there was a bid that came within, at least 5 million plus a sell on clause, but I'm thinking more like 6 million, then I think maybe you consider it. I think you cashed in a lot on that and it recoups some of the money that perhaps you lost, in the value that Peck and Paintsel kind of dropped last year, it kind of recouped some of that value. Show AUG that you could actually make some profit and you kind of move on from there. But look, I've seen a lot of people say that Amiro Garces isn't going to start next season with the new additions of Hack and Galesnes. Where do you see Amiro Garces in this new system? We'll start with you, Tab.
I think he's still CB number 2. I think obviously last year kind of CB number 1 with Yoshida being CB number 2, and then it kind of switched off because of form and all. But I think Glesnes coming in, I think he's CB1. I think he's the one that's always going to be starting. He's going to be the lock in the center back position. And I think you see rotation of maybe Garces and Hack, and maybe even Yoshida gets some minutes in there, starting minutes. But I think to start the season, I think it's going to be Glesnes and Garces, and I think Hack's going to play a role more in the midfield. I don't think we're playing a 3-back, like you kind of said earlier in previous podcasts. I think we're sticking to the 4-3-3, so we'll see where that goes. And then another point on that Garces thing is that I'm pretty sure we own 70% of his rights, so we get 70% of the transfer fee to whatever we get from him.
That's even less incentive to move him if I'm the Galaxy, but names?
Yeah, spot on from Tab again. I do see Garces as CB number 2, just because Glesnes, or however you say his name, Glesnes. Oh.
Oh boy, I don't think it's Glesnes. I think it's Glesnes. I think you're right.
So
I think the
rusty
pronunciation's weird. I think it's like
yeah.
I think it's Jakob Galesnes. All right. You know what?
My bad, guys. A little rusty.
Yeah.
It's been a year.
It's been one of the years. Where's Palmer Bank?
Okay.
Probably Ventura County, if I had to guess. Not a lot of the.
I was looking
team.
in the photos that they posted today. I did not see Palmer Bank in there. I did see Jaime Amaro, I think it was a 3rd round draft pick that we got. I did not see Sebastian Colman, but I think in that photo is only like outfield players, so maybe he was with the goalkeepers, but I did not see Palmer Bank in the squad photo today.
I gotta say, Tab, you are truly a sicko. I
am. That's what I do.
I respect it. Because me personally, I can't sit there looking at, training photos and being like, who's in this? That is a super draft pick from the 3rd round.
Well, that wasn't exactly what I was looking at, but my eye spotted it.
What were you looking at then?
I prefer not to speak.
What does that mean?
Maybe Garces. Garces Snake.
Oh my! Clip that. All right. Well, I've seen some clips that you posted on the Talking Galaxy account.
Oh no, that's not clipped. We can keep that out. This is like
no.
We keep it on the low key. This is gonna get
definitely being clipped.
This is gonna get
kept. It's interesting. Super draft picks very rarely work out for the Galaxy. Tucker Lepley is kind of the last example of somebody who's actually broken into the main team sporadically for the club. And he might end up in the USL in a few years for as talented as he is. there's just not many opportunities to break into the first team. Sometimes you need a year in the USL to bounce back up. You saw that happen with Carlos Harvey. He's at Minnesota United, and he's kind of a mainstay in that team now. Not saying that Tucker Lepley isn't LA Galaxy quality. I'm just saying super draft picks rarely have longevity in this league. We talked to Andrew and Dylan about that, Eli too. That was a discussion we had. So Palmer Bank might not even be on this roster or Ventura County's roster come the start of the season. But he looks like a talented player from what I've seen. And that's not much. So, take that for what you will. Amiro Garces, though, going back to the original question, he has to start. I've seen people say that he doesn't start. And for me, I think you move Hack into the midfield. They labeled him as a midfielder first. I don't think they did that by accident. I think Greg Vanny sees him as a midfielder. Perhaps that's part of the incentive that brought him over. He probably wanted to play midfield again after being forced to play center back for New York City FC. Perhaps he wants to play midfield, and Jakub Kolesnes really strengthens that back line for us, so it gives us more options there. Where maybe you could have a midfield of Cerrillo, Hack, and whatever DP number 10 you end up bringing in a 4-3-3. But I think it's just the question of, can Hack play more advanced, like a number 8 role? I'm not sure. That I haven't seen that. I'm not familiar enough with Justin Hack's game to say that he could play a number 8 position. I've heard mixed reviews that he can't play it, that he's more of a 6 in the midfield. But I've also seen things that would suggest that maybe he could play the box-to-box mid-role. We'll have to see with time. Greg Vanny can work his magic on that one. Gino Vivi, this is actually something that I've been wanting to discuss for a little bit. Where's his role in this squad? I mean, he's coming back. He has a green card, won't take up an international spot. Is he just going to be a Ventura County guy? Or, I mean, it feels like the Galaxy had the opportunity to get rid of Vivi. If that was something that they wanted to do, I feel like he wouldn't be on this roster. I feel like he is on the Galaxy roster for a reason right now. Where do you see him fitting into the squad plans next year? We'll start with you, Tab.
I think he's gonna get some rotational minutes. I don't think, obviously, it's not starting over Peck or Painsil, but maybe just at the end of games or something. Because at the start of the season we have 3 games in the first 10 days or something crazy like that.
Yeah,
maybe
4
get some minutes.
and 12.
Oh, even worse. Yeah, maybe get some minutes in there. He's obviously, we don't have any Open Cup games, so there's no chance for him to get minutes in some like alternate competitions. So most of it's gonna be late in games. Maybe if Peck picks up a slight knock or something, he'll get some minutes. But he's a supplemental roster player, so he's not holding up the cap in any way. So I think it's a good position to just kind of have some depth where you can kind of trust the guy to just run his heart out for the last 10, 15 minutes of the game and do what he can and prove himself.
Yeah, Memes, do you see a different role for him, or what do you see?
Quick question: is he a 10 by any chance as well, or is he more on the wing?
I think he's a 10, right?
He probably could.
Yeah.
Well, in that case, I'd probably see him getting like the role that Ruben Ramos kind of had towards the end of last year. You know, we saw Ruben Ramos getting some minutes here and there. I would expect Vivi to get more like minutes like those if we at the 10, and more minutes on the wing since we don't have Diego Fagundes, coming for Peck or Peso. I'm expecting for him to take over that role as well for a little bit if we don't resign Fagundes, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, look, I mean, we had Fagundes on the podcast. I think he kind of made it a little clear that coming back is probably not on the table right now, although he doesn't really know where he'll be next season. I would imagine that it's not back here unless it's on a insanely reduced discount. I think at a point an MLS team will end up swooping him up. We'll just have to see how that works. Free agencies, we're still in the mix of that. There's players signing with teams, and not everybody's been taken yet. So I could definitely see an MLS team maybe in need of a winger being like, all right, let's look at the market and being like, okay, this guy hasn't been reached from any other MLS team yet, so let's give him a call, maybe get a little discount on him. And I think that's probably where you see. But it's interesting looking at the winger spot for the Galaxy because you have 2 DPs there. But you have Gino Vivi, you have Harbor Miller, you have Mauricio Cuevas, you have all of these guys that could potentially play on the wing for you. I don't know if they sign a winger. I don't know if it happens.
Well.
What?
Lepley could play out there as well, probably.
Yeah.
He could probably do a job.
Yeah. Do you guys think they even sign a winger going into the season? I don't.
I don't think so.
I don't think it's on the cards. Ventura County ended up parting ways with Jason Buckner. I think he's over in Europe now, if I'm not mistaken.
I think it's Ireland, yeah.
Yeah, so he ended up making that move. So congratulations to him. I thought he was the truth. I thought he was kind of a part of the future of that position, but we'll have to see. But there's a lot of options. Greg Vanny's kind of alluded to the fact that he wants Harvard Miller to have a bigger role in the squad next season. So I think you'll see a lot more of Harvard Miller, and he's earned it. That's one of the players that in 2025, when everything was going wrong, he's still putting a shift out there every single time. And a part of our resurgence towards the end of the season was due to the energy that he brought on the field, especially when we were losing paint silver games, Peck every once in a while. So, it should be interesting to see. I want to direct this question towards Tab. Where's our number 10? What do you know, Tab? Because I've heard a lot from you recently about Golador, I think it was. So do you have any insight on that, or what's happening?
Actually, I signed an NDA on this. I think there's going to be, or I know there's some big transfers coming up. I think one of them that my source is alluding to was Nascimento getting re-signed on loan, and I think that we're going to sign a DP10 in this window. From multiple sources, it sounds like that's going to happen. It's just a matter of who. You've thrown some names around. I've thrown a name around.
Oh, you've thrown a name around.
But yeah, we'll see. But it should be getting done in the coming weeks. I feel like progression's been made. Maybe if I did I threw around.
You feel like what's giving you that? What's giving you that sign?
Is based off what my sources telling me. I made a guess, an educated guess, and the educated guess maybe isn't right, but I can't tell you guys. This is for a tight circus. I'm gonna gatekeep this, but yeah, I think something's coming out soon, is what I'm hearing.
Right. All right. Names. Have you heard anything from anyone on a certain Golador or anything along the lines of that?
Yeah, I have from Mr. Galaxy Runs LA. Actually, I've heard a ton of speculation of a really big number 10.
Really?
But I'm not too sure. I'm not really as optimistic as he is, or I think his source is credible.
Yeah. But, me neither.
Well, I guess we'll wait to see. We're about 2 weeks late from the initial signing date, but
Yeah, no, I remember
we'll just have to wait and see.
He was teasing a big signing on his account on the Corner of the Galaxy Discord. I really felt like something big was coming, and maybe we'll have to wait for that. But we'll have to see. We'll have to see on that. I think Memes and I are in the same boat where maybe we don't trust your source as much as you do there. Anyway, regardless.
Look at the comment section right now. This guy in the Tab Bonjavino said 10 bombs soon. You see that?
Really? Who's that guy?
I don't know, but that's my source.
Really?
Trust me, bro.
I wonder what Thomas says, man. I wonder what Thomas has for us.
But I expect a DP10 signing to be in the works right now.
Really?
Still don't know who it's going to be, but
you don't.
No, I don't.
Really? I thought you sent me pictures of training.
I could throw some names out there that I think it might be. I know Will Kuntz has been talking about players that he wants to sign domestically because of the green card kind of situation. So if he wants players to get in immediately, we can look inside the league, interleague. Maybe someone like a Vander, that would be kind of crazy.
Really?
Maybe, I know, what's his name? Mihailovic, he's transferred to Toronto. That's a name possibly. I know you did post about it as well. Santi Rodriguez. He's a former MLS guy, but I don't think he's coming. But yeah.
Evander's an interesting name that you mentioned there. He looks really happy in Cincinnati. I just throw
names out there that MLS proven quality, and who knows, maybe the Galaxy throw an offer for him.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, I've actually talked to Santi Rodriguez. I tried to personally convince him to come to the LA Galaxy. And yeah, I don't think Diego Luna's on the cards right now. We'll have to see. But I did talk to former New York City FC attacking midfielder Santi Rodriguez. He plays at Nascimento's club Botafogo in Brazil. So you have a little link there. Will Kuntz is already very familiar with that. However, huge disclaimer on that is that Santi Rodriguez has had no contact from the LA Galaxy. But to give you guys a little hope, he said he would love to play for us. So look, I'm doing more networking right now than Wilkins is, I think. I'm not going to go there, but if the GM role ever becomes open for the Galaxy, I'm no longer doing Galaxy Buzz, have a little more free time on my hands. So I feel like I already have a guy that's ready to join the Galaxy right now. Santi Rodriguez seems like he'd be very excited to be a G one day. Anyway, that's probably not happening.
This guy's just going to make
seriously.
Liverpool Academy players sign.
Huh?
I said you're just going to make Liverpool Academy players sign.
Okay. All right.
I have a little bit of transfer news that is legit. I know last pod we're talking about Diego Baguay. He's not coming to the USA. He's going to be joining a team in Mexico. I think he was rumored with Cholos, so maybe Cholos, but he's going to Mexico per a source of mine. So he will not join the Galaxy.
Yeah. I don't know. We have a lot of center backs. I'm not too concerned. Zonka's bought out. It's fine. We have Rindov and Yoshida. And if Hack does play in the midfield and you ever are missing a guy like Garces or Galesnes for a game, you could always move Dustin Hack back. You could start a guy like Elijah Winder in the midfield. Don't think that's too bad of a move if you ever need to. But yeah, Memes, you look like you want to say something.
Or Lucas Sanabria.
Anyway, moving on. We'll have to see. We haven't really had the opportunity to ask both of you, so I guess we'll kind of open this up to the midway segment of the podcast. Number 10, what are you guys looking at right now? Beyond the Vanders of the world, beyond whatever you may think, what are some realistic options that you think the Galaxy might go for? And what would you like to see if you were in the GM chair, if you were Mr. Wilkins for a day? What would you do? Tab?
I think you look interleague. I think outside league, you don't know what you're going to get. You've seen it with, let's see, I think Santi Rodriguez, his initial stint at NYCFC wasn't as successful as people kind of thought it was going to be. You obviously have seen rumors of Gio Reyna coming in. I don't think that's true. Maybe there's some contact, but who knows? Was it Total Galaxy posted we're getting him a U22 deal, which is kind of crazy. I don't think that's even legit. That guy's just throwing out stuff and hoping it sticks to the wall.
Has it ever been legit?
That's a great question. But yeah, I think there's a lot of things you can do. But I think if you want to be successful, I think you got to look interleague. You've seen Houston Dynamo. I think they're signing Matthias Bogers. Yeah. I don't think he's going to be great. I don't think he's worth 12 million that the Dynamo are paying for him.
No.
So, yeah, it looks like there's a Liga MX tax on him. So we'll see who we get. I think if we want to have a great 10, I think it's got to be Inter MLS.
Memes, I'll let you address this question.
I'm just gonna go with no. He's never seen me as like a exciting player or like he's just average for his age. I never really thought he was pretty good. I don't think we should make that move. But regarding your question on who we should sign, I have thought about it, and like again, I think I've mentioned it a couple of times before. I mentioned it, last season towards the end of last season's pods. I mentioned James. He's still a free agent. I think Tab is laughing.
I saw what's called Tom Bogert. He posted today on his X. He's like, he's not joining any MLS team, and he had like a laughing Simpsons gif or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
But
It was
continue.
like say the line, Bart.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
that would be my dream signing. Just because I'm Colombian, so like that would be crazy. Our best player in our history to play here. Other than that, not really. A vendor, yeah, that would seem pretty interesting. But again, I don't see it happening. That's Cincinnati's, their star player. I don't see that happening. I've seen some people mention Reyna, and also someone mentioned Weston McKennie. Both of those
McKennie,
kind
no
of,
way.
yeah,
No way.
that's a little too far fetched. Gio Reyna, I wouldn't be up for it just because I feel like he has like locker room issues, and also his dad has gotten a lot of like speculation with coaches in Dortmund and in the U.S. men's national team. So I don't want him coming over here and ruining the locker room vibe, and suddenly a bunch of players want out because of Gio Reyna and his dad. So I'm gonna say no to both of those. Yeah.
Yeah. I would also say no on David Martinez. I don't think he's enough of a finished product for what the Galaxy need right now, and certainly not worth the designated player spot. Could he be on the move? Maybe. I don't know. I think LAFC like to stack up a lot of wingers and make it very versatile. I know Schaffelberg's going to be out a lot of the start of the season. So, Tyler Boyd, who knows what version of Boyd they get, but it seems like David Martinez will still get a good amount. Look, I've thought about Reyna. I really have. And I think it's a little more realistic than when I first heard it. It sounds a little more realistic. Definitely not on a U22 contract. That's never happening, I'm afraid. However, I think Gio Reyna on a designated player contract, maybe even a 1-year loan, could be a possibility. I don't know, but I feel like it's not worth it. For me, it comes down to the fact that there are so many better attacking midfielders in the world that are less problematic. That you could sign as a designated player. I mean, look, the Galaxy aren't looking at a cap space right now. This is a direct Ricky Puig replacement. It doesn't matter whether you pay him 2 million, 5 million, 10 million. It doesn't matter. He's a designated player. He hits the cap the same. So whatever AEG is willing to spend, I want a player that is not going to be problematic. And I think Gio Reyna is problematic. And the bigger issue for me is I can't afford Marco Reus starting in this team very consistently. Look at Gio Reyna. He's injury prone. I'm sorry. I like Gio Reyna. I think he would be a good player in MLS. Would he be an elite attacking midfielder for a designated player contract? I don't know. It remains to be seen. Maybe he would. Would he have the motivation? I don't know. Would he be able to stay on the field? I don't know. It just feels like a guy that Will Kuntz has looked at, but probably, X'd off of his board because he's probably been like, look, I don't think this guy can stay out on the field. We're already missing our star attacking midfielder in Ricky Puig. We can't afford to waste another season with injury-prone designated players. It can't happen. I think they want a guy that can play you 34 games of the MLS season, and I don't think Gio Reyna is that guy. He's not starting at Borussia Mönchengladbach. I probably butchered that name. He's not starting there. And it's just not the move for me. What I would look at is probably a guy within the league too. I mean, this was a good shout if he was a little younger. I like Carlos Heel, but he is 33 years old. I think that's kind of out of our age range right now. I think they want a guy that's probably more in his prime years than about to hit the decline probably. So names specifically, I mean, Mihailovic would be an interesting one. I don't know.
I think he
Maybe-
just moved. So that was a bad shout by me. I'm pretty sure he just joined in was it probably the winter, so probably like a year ago he did.
Yeah.
Well, no, it's halfway through the season because he's at Colorado at the start, and then he moved to Toronto. So it's summer.
Oh yeah.
So he's been here for like 6 months.
They have Paxton Aronson too, yeah.
That's Colorado, yeah.
Look, I've thought about this a lot too. Would you guys wait till the summer to sign a designated player? Are you willing to take that risk again? Like, how urgent is it for the Galaxy to sign a DP now? Tab?
I think it has to be now. I think Vanny and Kuntz are prioritizing the CCC, and if you want to make a deep run in the CCC, it's got to be now. I'm pretty sure the finals are before the summer window, so even if you did bring in a DP10 in the summer, it's still not in time for the CCC finals. So it's got to be now. I think they've seen what happened last season with Ricky Puig out for the whole season and relying on two DPs and a injury-prone Marco Royce to feed them, and it just didn't work. So you got to go now.
Yeah, memes.
Yeah, it has to be now. We saw what happened last season without a number 10, a DP number 10. Why would we risk that again? You know, we already know what the outcome is. You know, if we don't have a number 10 like Ricky Boyd, we don't have our wingers to perform. We don't have, we don't score goals, and it's gonna cost us a lot of games. It might even get Vanny, under the bus a lot with the fans. So I think it's important that we get the DP now.
Yeah, no, I agree. We got a Rusnak shout. No thanks. I'm sorry. This would have been cool when he was first rumored in 2021, before we signed Douglas Costa. That would have been cool back then. I remember being on the bus on the way to a high school soccer game, and I got the notification that Rusnak signed to the LA Galaxy, and I was like, "What, really?" And that ended up not being true. So we do have a question, but yeah, Rusnak, complete pass on that right now. There might be better options in the summer, player-wise. There might be players that are more willing to move after. But at the end of the day, there has to be pressure on this coaching staff to win now. They can't afford to sell another half of a year with Marco Royce starting at the 10 if he's even healthy. Can't happen. What are the realistic chances of us doing well in CONCACAF? Furthermore, I'll expand on this. What are your guys' expectations? What's the bare minimum and what's realistic for the Galaxy? Tab?
I think the bare minimum is getting to, the quarterfinals? Because in the round of 32, we have a Panamanian team. In the round of 16, we have a Jamaican team. If we don't beat both of those, I'm calling for Vanny's head. I think you got to get past those people. They're Caribbean nations. In terms of soccer, we are the superior league, so we have the better players. We have higher cap. If we lose, it's embarrassing. We saw it with Austin FC. They lost to Comunicaciones. I think that's a Jamaican team back in 2022 or something, and that was embarrassing for the league. We can't be the embarrassment for the league for the second year in a row. So I think we got to get to at least the quarterfinal, where we either match up against, I think it's Toluca most likely.
Yeah.
Depending on who progresses to that side of the bracket, but I think we have to get to that quarterfinals minimum.
Tab, second question to that. If we crash out before the quarterfinals, is it Vanny out? Are you 100% Vanny out?
Yeah, right now I'm Vanny in. I think the terrible seasons he had, I don't think it's fully done him. I think it's roster construction, obviously, in 2022, and the injuries kind of caused him the trouble. And then last season, obviously, Ricky Puig out, and he kind of had a hard hand to play with. But I think this year they've seen it beforehand, and I think if they can't deal with it now, I don't think he could stay at the club much longer. And I think a question you asked earlier was what is dependent on a good CCC run. I think it's got to be that DP10. So
yeah.
If we sign it, I think we do good. If we don't, I don't think we make it past quarterfinals. But if we do, I think we have a good chance against Toluca or wherever we play.
Memes?
Yeah, I think the bare minimum is quarterfinals. I can't name one single player or one single team from Jamaica or Panama. That just speaks volume. So if we crashed out of CCC, am I Vanny out? I'm gonna go with yeah, because this time I feel like it is gonna be on him. We don't have Ricky Puig, but he's got to learn from last season. It's gonna be the exact same scenarios. We're not gonna have Ricky Puig. You gotta, as a coach, you gotta be more prepared. You gotta already start planning things out, the players, who's going to come in, this and that. He's got to be more prepared for this season, knowing it's going to be the exact same repeat of last season.
Yeah, no, I'm with both of you. I think quarterfinals is the bare minimum. And realistically, I think that's as far as we get. I don't think this team right now is built for a semifinals or finals appearance in CONCACAF. As much as I would love it, I don't think it will happen. But could I see us crashing out earlier than that? If we don't sign a DP10, yeah, possibly. I could see us being shocked in one of these two games. And, these teams are going to come out with a point to prove. The LA Galaxy is a massive club. They're going to want to make a statement. They're going to make people like Galaxy memes want to remember their name for all the wrong reasons. So I think they're going to come out with the point to prove. And if the Galaxy aren't there, we're going to have another shock like we had against Herediano in CONCACAF last year when we played that away leg and lost 1-0. You know, we all know their name now because they ended up beating us in that first leg, and we had to come back in the second leg and have a strong showcase at home. So I would also be on Vanny out if we don't go to the quarterfinals, which is why I think it's very urgent for the LA Galaxy to sign that number 10. It really is. I don't see this team as much different than 2025, at least going forward, if there isn't a DP10 sign, because then you're still looking at that same exact attack of Royce, Nascimento, Peck, and Paintsil. What did that do for you last year? Not much. And obviously the back line's gotten better. So if you want to be like, oh, we'll concede less goals and we'll be fine. We'll just concede less goals and score about the same and jump into the playoffs. Yeah, I mean, maybe. I just feel like you have to have that number 10 and it has to come urgently. I'm not saying you panic sign, but look, I feel like the Galaxy have been good with not panic buying. I trust Will Kuntz in this organization and not repeat another Douglas Costa mistake because I trust the people in charge now more than I did then. So I don't think it'll happen. I think we'll sign the number 10 this window, but honestly, the lack of names that I've heard is a little concerning. I guess Gio Reyna counts as half as one. I don't know. I think that's a little unrealistic. Or maybe a little more realistic, but I don't know if it's the right move. I don't know if that's something that Kuntz would want to personally do. Another unrealistic one that I had a little faith in for a little bit was Kendry Paez. Another tab-like source on Kendry Paez. And look, I don't know. I don't see that one happening either. Rumors are that he's going to the EFL Championship in England. Because something with Chelsea only have a certain amount of international loan spots, and they want to recall him from Strasbourg so they could loan him within, England, or I don't know what it is. But regardless, it looks like he's just going to head to the EFL Championship. I don't know. I think the Galaxy are in a real predicament, but I do trust the people in charge to end up signing a good number 10. I'm thinking of in-league number 10s, and I don't know. I mean, if I honestly, none of them come to my mind that really seem that attractive.
I got Footbin pulled up right now. So we go 10s. We got Thomas Muller. We got Emil Forsberg, Hany Mukhtar, Carlos Hill, Evander, Miranchuk, Pep Biel, Miguel Amarone, Rusnak, Ryan Kent, Marcel Hartel, Mihailovic, Nico Fernandez, and David DaCosta. And that's all the golds in FIFA, if anyone's wondering.
Oh, there you go.
That's my rumors.
This
is top tier agent searching right now.
This is why Talkin Galaxy is the best.
Okay, so that's just that's my FIFA mind speaking, but this is my ball knowledge speaking right now. These cycles come and go for Galaxy. I think obviously the cycle kind of started with Gabriel Peck getting signed in late 2023, and that was the start of the cycle. Him, JP coming in, that was the start of the cycle where we become successful. And the end of the cycle is coming up. I think it's going to be this season. And I think we got to go all in if you want to be successful in the cycle, because if not, we're basically going to be starting from ground zero again. I think either Gabriel Peck or Joseph Paintsil will get sold at the end of the season. Coming up a new MLS season as well with the new schedule change. It's going to be a new era Galaxy, I guess you could say, instead of cycle. The Gabriel Peck, Joseph Paintsil, Ricky Puig era, it's going to be over after the season. You're going to have to look to new DPs to kind of carry you to the next era. And I think if you want to end out this era with a bang, I think you got to sign this DP10 now to kind of bring up the team to be successful.
Yeah, I also don't think Diego Luna would be a U22 player for us. I think it would have to be a DP and a lot of money. But memes?
What was the question?
I guess looking at Footbin. No. What options do you see realistic for the Galaxy? I guess interleague. Did any of those names ring any interest to you?
The only name that did bring interest to me was Pep Biel from Charlotte. He puts up pretty good numbers, I would say. He's a pretty good player from what I've seen in the league. I feel like he's a good shout, but it's tough for us to make these type of signings because a lot of these players are their star players for other teams, and it's going to be really hard to let them go. It's like such short notice right now. So I mean, it's really tough. I'm honestly, I don't know how Galaxy are going to pull it off. Do I have hope that they will? I'm like 50-50 on what's going to happen, but we're going to have to find out in the next coming weeks, to be honest.
Yeah. I guess two names that kind of maybe, I don't know. One of them's more realistic, one of them's less. The less realistic one being Hani Mukhtar, I think would be an absolute dream if the Galaxy could just throw an insane amount of money at Nashville. Maybe he wants to be a star in Los Angeles. He wants more, I'm sorry. I think a lot more people rather live in Los Angeles than Tennessee. And he's been an experienced player in MLS. Maybe Nashville want to cash in right now at his peak value. He's going to be 31 years old in March, which isn't old, but he probably won't be worth any more than what we would be able to pay him the rest of his career. So maybe there's a move there for that. But once again, he's still putting up MVP level numbers. So I don't see that happening. If he wasn't as new to MLS, I would say maybe David DaCosta. You've already seen Portland move on from one of their attacking midfielders, but I don't think it'll happen to them again. But he's a player that, maybe is a little exciting. We'll have to see. Another interesting thing here is the European transfer window closes in 11 days. So any team that wants to find a replacement for any one of these guys, whether it be whether we go back to Europe and we're like, hey, I don't know. Maybe we go to Chelsea and we're like, hey, we want Kendry Páez or whatever. That was a terrible example. Let's say we go to a random European team. Let's say it's like Lyon in France, and we're like, hey, we want your attacking midfielder. What?
Ansu Fati.
Yeah, we want Ansu Fati. Let's just throw names out. We want Ansu Fati. They're not going to have a replacement. They're not going to have a replacement if we don't do this in time. And I don't think a team is going to want to part with their player if they don't have a replacement, which is why I'm a little glad that MLS is changing to the new calendar, because this wouldn't be an issue. This would not be an issue if we were in the old calendar. It's tough right now because all these teams are starting their seasons or are in midway through the season while we're starting ours. So, we'll have to see how that goes. Carlos Hill, maybe. I
like
don't know.
that shout, actually.
Yeah.
I don't think he moves, but I like that shout.
Yeah, I think he's a little on the older side, but maybe he has 2 to 3 good years left in him. You sign him to like a 2-year contract. And, when Ricky leaves, he leaves too. You kind of restart at the number 10 spot. But I also think they want someone that's versatile. So, yeah. Anyway, Tab, I know you memes, go ahead.
Guys, I just want to address something in the comments. I do not go to Cal State Long Beach. Please do not go looking for me. I've seen LA Galaxy commentary and someone else mentioned this is just a shirt that I got. I don't go to Cal State Long Beach. I go to UC Irvine. So if you guys want to make the drive out there, then you guys can go find me. But I don't go find me at Cal State Long Beach because you're not going to find me there. So.
Really? Because I've seen you in the group chat talk about, Cal State Long Beach and how great it is over there, In fact, you might have mentioned seeing LA Galaxy commentary.
Guys, we do not even have a group chat. Do not believe what this guy says.
I will say this, Brandon. If you ever see Galaxy memes on campus, you guys should collab. I
like an interview or something.
Yeah,
kind of like a.
Oh yeah. I know the interviews that. Yeah, those are good interviews. I think Galaxy memes is like a public celebrity on that campus. So definitely take pictures of him and post it on the internet.
Please do not come find me, bro. Please do not come find me.
No, I mean, I think you guys have found each other a few times, so maybe you guys are destined for a collab in the near future. We'll
I think
have
that's
to
what you
see.
call true love, if I'm not
Yeah.
mistaken.
Yeah, look, it's whatever you want to believe. So Cal State Long Beach is where you could find this guy right here. Make sure to say hi if you ever see him. Take a picture, send it to me. I'll repost it. Moving on to our next bit of news. Galaxy runs LA. I know you
Yeah.
posted we have an update, but this doesn't give much.
You know,
I'm
if
gonna be
you
honest.
if you pull out the binoculars and kind of look
Yeah.
closely, you can see that the jersey is white.
Really?
But I think Gabriel Peck, I don't know if he was allowed to post or not, but he posted this on one of his little I think that's actually where memes just going.
No.
Anyways,
Anyway.
I don't think if he was actually told to post or whatnot, but he definitely is kind of blue balling us here with this kind of post, kind of showing a little teaser what the jersey is. I'm not sure if you have the next slide on the post, but you get a closer look at the kind of collar of the jersey. That's all you kind of get for now. We already know what the shorts look like, but what you really want to know is what the actual front of the jersey looks like, and we just don't have that yet.
I feel like he's like getting out of the shower and he's teasing us with this picture.
No,
You know, he
yeah,
has
he
like,
just wants towel, just drop the
yeah, he
towel.
has the towel over everything. He's like, you know, all you see is the nameplate. I mean, this isn't really given much. I did see a sash outline in one of the other media photos. It looks, what year was it that they had like an
I guess
iconic sash?
2017, I believe. 2017.
I don't think it was 2017. It was one of the MLS Cup winning years, I believe. They had like a nice sash.
Oh, 2014.
Yeah,
It was like dark blue. Yeah.
Yep.
I think it's gonna be more like 2017 though.
Yeah, I think it might look like a
Sash is
mix
back.
of that. 2014, 2017, and 2019. You'll probably
Oh,
find it somewhere in between there. So I think you'll be looking at that for the upcoming kit. But Tab, give us the release date again.
For my source, it's gonna be released on February 11th. So we have less than a month for it to come out. I'm assuming we get some leaks soon. I hope so. I mean, I'm thirsty for some leaks of this New Jersey. We've seen, I think, Atlanta United, Inter Miami.
Yeah.
Who else has got leaked? Can't think of any other one. Oh, Sporting Kansas City, I think. NYCFC. I like the NYCFC one if you haven't seen that one. But you know, hopefully Galaxy's next on that list.
Yeah. The return of the sash. I don't know how I feel about it. Kind of feels a little like big and goofy. So we'll have to see. We'll have to see. I mean, it looked good in 2014. It looked all right in 2019, but I think my favorite home kit of all time, I know we were going to do a tier list. We'll have to save that for a future podcast. But I think my favorite home kit of all time, honestly, and I haven't been around long enough. So if you're like coming to me with a 1998 home kit, like, I'm sorry, I can't pull that off the top of my head right now. But out of the ones that I've seen, I love the City of Dreams kit. I love that kit. That's just an iconic one.
I thought your community kit was your favorite. Oh, you said home kits.
Kit.
Yeah.
Away kits, community kit.
I agree.
We've had some good kits that were attached to some really bad teams. I mean, the only good player I ever remember like being the community kits, like Cabral. Like
you say the only good player? Is that what you said? The only good player is Cabral?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure there's a Spanish guy that wore number 6 that wore that jersey at some point.
Never heard of him. Never heard of him.
Tore his ACL twice.
Yeah.
Does it ring a bell?
No. Oh, by the way, on that note, not to draw speculation here, but I have heard that the Ricky Puig ACL tear is not what the Galaxy are putting out right now. Is that it was a botched surgery or whatever on the initial surgery. And, you know, this will be the biggest tidbit I give you the whole podcast and probably forever.
Remove the what's it called, my post, and say it so
yeah.
we can flip it.
Yeah, we got. Hey, clip that. Oh, what? He changed it.
Guys,
No way. There's no way he changed his shirt. Anyway,
not trying to get doxxed.
it's too late, buddy. You go to Cal State Long Beach.
This was during my academy days at the Galaxy Academy.
We got Cal Lutheran boy over here.
You're pointing the wrong way, buddy. You're pointing to the person next to
You
you.
pointed at nobody.
Wait.
It's this way. Oh no, this way.
Wait, wherever Tab
Wait.
is, the Tab, you're here for me.
No, I'm the other way.
Anyway, no way he changed his shirt. Anyway, what were we talking about? Oh,
You're talking Ricky Pooch.
yeah, Ricky Pooch. Hold on, just to clarify here, it is Long Beach. So,
Bro.
Anyway, Ricky Pooch, that injury that the LA Galaxy told you that, they kind of alluded to the fact that the original surgery never went well. Maybe that there was some irritation or swelling that kind of never went down. I'm here to tell you that from what I've been told, that's not true. Is that it wasn't anything related to the initial surgery. And hey, look, I'm not trying to put bad speculation out here, but if you're going to make up a lie, and maybe it's not, but I haven't heard anything else, because look, if you want to be like, oh, how do you know this or whatever? Like, how do you know that what they're saying is not the truth? Look, maybe what they're saying is true, but if it was, hey, why are you being so secretive about it? Why are they being completely under the wraps about it? Here, look, I am under the impression from my source that the injury, it was a re-injury. It was a re-injury. I don't know whether that means it was a complete re-tear of the ACL, but that surgery looked bad. And if we want to use our heads here, if we want to be thinking right now, hey, so Galaxy, why would he go back to the same doctor? Why would he go back to the same doctor that originally botched his surgery if it truly was a botched surgery? Why would he not go to a doctor in LA? Or if you want him to stay in Spain for the rehab, why would he not go to a different Spanish doctor? I'm very hard at believing that's the one Spanish doctor in the whole world that is capable of completing his surgery. I just don't believe it. I don't buy it. And if it truly was just something that came back up, like an irritation that never went down, I really don't think they would go back to the same guy. Regardless, from what I understand, it was a re-injury that happened in Spain. And I don't know any more than this. And maybe this isn't the truth. So I'm, take this with a little grain of salt. It wasn't on the field. It wasn't on the field. It wasn't during training. It had nothing to do with football, from my understanding. So whatever happened had to be something very freak. So yeah, I presume that Freaky Pooch. I assume that clip that. So yeah, we'll have to see if they ever say. Yeah, see, here's my thing about it all. How do you not find out that it was a botched surgery until it happened? The surgery was completed in December of 2024. And we're finding out in January of 2026, being like, hey, oh, by the way, that surgery that we did well over a year ago, it didn't go right. Really? I don't buy that. I'm sorry. I don't buy that. As somebody, yeah, I don't know. Just logically thinking here, I don't buy it, but I'm not going to speculate. And truly, that's all I know. I don't know if he was I don't know if Freaky Pooch came out and something happened. I don't know what happened, but whatever did happen was enough to, put him back in surgery. And that surgery looked nasty. That surgery looked bad. I feel bad. Was it confirmed botched? I mean, not all surgeries are 100%. Sure. That's what Ricky Pooch posted, is that it was, botched. And I'm not calling him a liar, but I just think that the Galaxy would have an incentive if it was something that happened off of the field to protect him in this case. Yeah, just me as a logical, person, it just doesn't make sense. Does this make sense to anybody? Like, I don't know. Give me thoughts on this, because I don't think we've heard any of your guys' thoughts this year. Actually, I think we did hear a little bit from Tab. So we'll start with me. Thoughts on this whole Ricky Pooch situation?
Dude, I'm so lost. Like, I have so many questions. I'm honestly, I'm at loss for words. Like, when I first found out that the surgery didn't go well, I was like, all right, what happened? Because I did my own research, and I heard that 20% of the time, like 20%, there's a 20% chance that the surgery doesn't go well. But we don't even know if the surgery didn't go well. It could be that it went entirely good, and Ricky just retore it again in Spain during the offseason while he was trying to get his fitness back up. Like, we don't know anything. There's nothing that has came out. The club has been pretty silent on the whole situation. Ricky Puig has been silent. It's going to be tough to find out what actually happened. I mean, I doubt they're even going to come out
Never.
with the full story, because it's going to be with the full story is going to be that there's going to be finger pointing involved, and they don't want that.
Yep. Couldn't have said it better. Tab.
I think media availability is on Wednesday, so that's tomorrow. So maybe we'll get some answers then. I don't know if anyone's gonna have the balls to ask him what happened in Spain to Ricky, but if they do, maybe they'll answer. Maybe they'll just back up their statement of lies that they've been saying.
Yeah.
But who knows? And yeah, I really hope it's not botched, because that would just be awful. Because Ricky Puig did all that work, he did nothing wrong, and it was surgeon's fault. You've seen it. The only person I know, because I follow Barcelona, was Gavi. He tore his ACL and he had to get surgery again on it. I don't think it was for the ACL, but it's something like meniscus or something. So not all surgeries go well. I will say that. I know Roger's struggling coming back from his ACL injury. It's not an easy injury to come back from.
Same doctor. Yeah, I was about to say that.
So it's a tough injury. We'll see if we get answers. I doubt it, but yeah, that's what I have to say.
And once again, maybe it truly was the botched surgery. But if you're trying to, it feels like trying to put a square peg in a round hole. It's not making sense to me. I'm sorry, not to doubt the LA Galaxy, but I'm not buying this propaganda right now. But I'll probably never know. We'll probably never know. But just it makes more sense right now that it was something, that was not on the field, which is actually like probably even worse than anything if you could think about it, because for him to do all that training and it felt like he was making certain strides in his recovering. I mean, you saw the Galaxy make that whole poster about the return, like buy tickets
like
Galaxy New York City
series as well.
Yeah,
Had the YouTube series.
Yep, had the. Don't expect another episode of that one.
Yeah, season 2. Season 1 got canceled. Season 2 is coming soon.
Yeah. Like Big Ange says, season 2 is gonna be even better than season 1. Or no, he said that about season 3. Let's not get to season 3. I don't think there'll be a season 3 to be had if that's the case. I don't know. Look, this makes sense to me. I mean, the math is mathing on this one. 2 surgeries, just to be sure, honestly. He's going to be missed throughout this whole season. But the Galaxy, there is hope. There is a lot of hope. And I'm sure this has brought a lot of hope to everybody in this podcast here, is the fact that Nasty Nas is back, everyone. Nasty Nas is going to return to the Galaxy on loan until likely the summer. There is a $6 million. It looks like there will be a $6 million obligation to buy if he plays over 50% of the minutes in the upcoming season. Yeah, guys, how are we feeling about Nasty Nas back? Does our MLS Cup just hand it to us, right, Tab?
I'm a Nasty Nas fan. If there's no Nasty Nas fans, I'm dead. I think that I'm a fan of his. I think we just saw the start of his kind of career blossom with the Galaxy. I think you saw towards the end of the season, this guy's got some talent. I remember his assist. I forget what it was, but he did that little Vinny fake where he did a step over, ran through, and then sent it to Sanabria, your favorite player, to get that tap in. He's He's got talent. I like him. I don't like the 50% clause. If he plays in 50% of the games, we have to automatically buy him. I
Yeah.
think if it wasn't for that, I think this deal is perfect. We get 6 more months of him to see if 6 million is worth it. We also brought down the buyout clause from, I think it's 7 million, or is it 8 million? Do you remember?
It was 7, I think.
7. So he brought down 1 million if that source is true. And I think this could be good, but it also could go bad. So we'll have to see.
Yeah.
It could
Memes.
go very bad.
I mean,
Yeah.
I'm a Nasty Nas fan too. I think he has some talent in him, but 6 million for him, it's a little too high in my opinion. Like I wouldn't do that, man. He hasn't proved himself yet, so 6 million is just too high for me. So that's like the only negative.
Yeah, no, I think that 6 million figure is ridiculous, if I'm being quite honest. I wouldn't do it. I haven't even seen what he's gonna look like. Like I've talked about, I'm beating the dead horse now. It looks fine. It looks fine if he comes out at the start of the season and he's being very productive. But if he's not, then I have two scenarios here. One is that you shouldn't have brought him back if you're not going to play him 50% of the minutes. Scenario number two, if he plays over 50% of the minutes and he's not productive, then you just wasted $6 million on a player who is not scoring goals for you, which is his whole job. I know he plays as a little bit of a false nine role. Maybe you get some assists in there. And maybe he is the guy. Maybe he comes out at the start of the season and drops 10 goals on my head and shushes me in the crowd. I don't know. Who knows? But I just maybe it happens. I'm okay with the loan move. I think it's, like Tab said, without the price tag, it's pretty low risk. But for me, I felt like we could have been more ambitious with this U22 spot, because it comes down to the fact that, hey, there's no way these are the only two U22 players on the there's no way these are the only U22 players. There's got to be better options. And if it really comes down to the fact that Nasty Nas knows the Vanny system, then hell, bring him back for the next 5 years if that's all it takes to be an LA Galaxy striker on a U22. I need more than that. I need goals, and I didn't see it a lot last season. I know he was injured. I'm sorry if he's. I like the 50% thing and the fact where if he's injured, you don't have to deal with it. If he gets injured at the start of the season, you move on in the summer. But at the end of the day, I don't know. We'll have to see how this plays out. But this is the projected starting lineup for the LA Galaxy minus Julian Ade. We'll have a discussion on that, Mr. Tab. And your logic on why Ade is not in this lineup was very interesting to me.
It's great ball knowledge, that's all I have to say. You guys have to wait in here.
All right.
No, you got info from Central on that one.
Yeah. Well, if that was the case, Mitrovic would.
He would be gone.
Mitrovic would be.
And Royce would be on the bench.
He'd be bagging Uber Eats if that were the case. I think you'd have JT or
Brady Scott,
Paez starting. You'd have Paez for the FC Dallas keeper starting. Hey, we could have Paez and Paez. We could have two Paez on our team. Anyway, this one has Novak in goal, Nelson left back. Not the case. Amiro Garces and Gillespie at center back, Mauricio Cuevas right back, Hack, Royce, Soria in the midfield, Paintsill, Nasty Nas, and Gabriel Peck as the front three. Thoughts on this, Tab? How are you feeling?
I think this is. Obviously, I put this together. I think this is our strongest lineup. I think obviously you're saying Aude, I'm saying Nelson. I think my point has been proven by Nelson gaining this long-term contract that we'll be talking about soon. And I think Nelson's Mr. Reliable. You can't go wrong with Nelson. And he also responds to my DMs. So
Really?
That was a deciding factor.
Yeah.
Nelson's a nice guy, so he starts over Aude for me.
Well, that was the point I was looking for from you.
I was joking, but I think Nelson had. Obviously, I think Aude has higher upside than Nelson. I think Nelson currently is better than Aude. So that's my reasoning.
Yeah. Memes?
I think it's a banger lineup. Hopefully these players will get going. But in my opinion, I would put all day over Nelson just because I think he has a little bit more upside. I think he's better attacking going forward, and his defense has improved a lot, and he won back his position last year. So I think we gotta roll with him until an injury happens or his form drops. But shout out Nelson, that guy also answers my DMs all the time.
You're DMing Nelson all the time. Interesting.
I
You
literally
mean
DM'd him.
Griffin?
I DM'd him today, telling him happy or congrats on the contract. He said thanks, G.
He is not gonna let you hit.
He's gonna be on the podcast like next year, guys.
Yeah.
Just wait for his contract to expire. He will be on the Talking Galaxy.
It's gonna be a few.
It's gonna be 2020. Oh, okay. Are we gonna talk about Nelson? Or you talk about the your lineup, and then we'll talk about Nelson after.
Yeah. This lineup though, I feel like is probably the best that we'll get right now. Besides, Nelson Frade. Look, maybe Vanny goes to 3-back, but I feel like that's yet to be proven right now. So until we see that in preseason, that he's just rolling with the 3 at the back, I think this is probably the same thing that he goes with. I think the issue I have with the 3 at the back is you're going to have to force either Peck or Paintsel or both of them to play up top. If not, you're going to have to play them basically as a wing back when you're defending. And I do not like that. I don't like either one of those. So I don't know. I think that makes it a little more unrealistic for me, but hey, maybe they could shift some things around. I feel like this makes sense to me. They listed Hack as a midfielder. I think they want him in a midfield with Edwin Cerrillo. Once again, it's worth noting that Edwin Cerrillo will be out the first game. So the game against New York City SC, I feel like you'll probably see Elijah Winder in there. Or if we have the number 10 in time, you'll probably see Royce and the number 10 with Hack in that
Or
midfield.
Sanabria.
Lower your expectations, everybody. It's going to be Lucas Sanabria on the lineup, all right? Just lower your expectations right now.
Hey, Greg, I know you're not listening, but if you are, just let me know if that's the case and I just won't show up. Like, just let me know. No, I'm sorry. I actually don't hate Sanabria that much. I just don't know if he's the answer in the midfield for the Galaxy. It's very much to be proven for me. Dylan Vanny's been not that he'd ever start this upcoming season, but he's a name that could probably get his first team debut next season for the Galaxy. He's balling out for Ventura County. One to pay attention to. This is underwhelming. I'm sorry, this is underwhelming. I mean, I think if Puig is in this, it makes you a lot more excited. If we had a healthy Ricky Puig in that midfield instead of Marco Royce, I think I'm looking at this and I'm like, okay, I can get behind this as, potentially MLS Cup contender. It's just so reliant on who the number 10 ends up being, because I'm sorry, Royce isn't moving the needle for me. And the chances are Royce won't be healthy enough to, hack it out probably half of the season. So, we'll have to see how that goes. Yeah, but transitioning into the news that you kind of hinted at, John Nelson signed a long-term extension, I believe, through the 27-28 season for the LA Galaxy. His contract was set to expire at the end of the year. The Galaxy wanted to reward him for all the hard work. He was making breadcrumbs. I'm sure this is a good up on his salary. Came from St. Louis. He was almost out of the league at a point, and he revives his career completely with the LA Galaxy. And hey, he was very, 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 very good in that 2024 MLS Cup run. Maybe not as effective last season, but my thing with John Nelson is I think when you are without a number 10, you need more offense just generally. And I think that Julianade provided that more than John Nelson did, because John Nelson's just not as attacking of a fullback. That's just a fact. But John Nelson is very attacking. Or no, Julianade is very attacking. John Nelson is like steady Eddie. He's very good defensively. He's like the anchor at that left back spot. So well-deserved, John Nelson. Yeah, thoughts on this, Tab?
I think it's a good signing. Or a good re-signing, I guess you could say. I think he's proven that he is LA Galaxy quality. He represents the colors of the badge well. And like you said, steady Eddie, that's what you need at this level, especially at fullback position. I don't think it's as vital, so you don't need to spend like a U22 spot out. I think we could better use that slot somewhere else. That's my personal opinion. But I think Nelson, by this signing, I think it shows he's the future. I think very soon we're going to move from Alde, and maybe in the summer we bring in someone else to help bolster the attack with Ricky being gone. And then I have a little fact. This is now the longest contract Galaxy has. Currently, the longest contract was 2028, and that was with Peck. And his contract can run through 2029 with the option year. So Galaxy's building for the future. And then I have a little graph that I was building throughout my work hours because I finished all my work for the day. The players that contract ended this year or after the season, we have Edwin Cerrillo, Zonka, who's going to be gone, so that doesn't matter. Parente, Christian Ramirez, Marco Royce, Gino Vivi, Mickey Amane, and Maya Yoshida. And it was Nelson as well, but he got the extension. So out of all those, I think you bring back Cerrillo, you bring back maybe Parente on another year, but I think other than that, a lot of those players can be gone next season.
Yeah. We kind of talked about the fact that 2027 is going to look like a much different year for the LA Galaxy in terms of roster construction. So, Memes, thoughts on this Nelson extension?
Yeah, I think it's a really good deal. You know, I'm a big Nelson fan. You know, he was a amazing, piece to our MLS Cup run. He was almost perfect in my opinion. But like you said, Peyton, he is a player that's, steady Yeti. I do see that as a kind of a negative just because we like to play with our fullbacks going up. You know, we saw that with Yamane, and, Cuevas is also a fullback that is attacking. So I think we need that on our team. We need someone that's going to make those overlapping runs. And, unfortunately, Nelson doesn't really do that. And, but having him still on the team, having him as a depth piece and as an asset is huge for us. So it's a great move, and congrats to John again.
Yeah, I almost feel like you kind of need a steady Eddie sometimes, though, especially if you're going to make an MLS Cup run. You don't always need the guys that are going to be flashy like Julian Ade is. You don't always need your Mauricio Cuevas. For as good of quality of players as they are, sometimes you need a guy that's just a sicko on the back line, just absolutely loves clamping guys up. And I feel like that's what John Nelson did to a T in that MLS Cup run for the Galaxy. So I think you need a guy like that sometimes. There's certain games, there's certain matchups where you do not need a guy to be darting up and down the line the whole time. You need to play a bit more defensive. You need to play a bit more back. And I think that's what John Nelson provides to this team, just stability and strength. And that's what we need in a back line sometimes. However, I do disagree with the fact that this points to anything related to Julian Ade's future. Maybe I'll be proven wrong this transfer window. Maybe they have a move lined up for him to Europe. I feel like with the contract expiring at the end of the season, this was something that the Galaxy were going to have to do. And they wanted to get it sorted out now rather than later, which is probably what they're also doing with Justin Hack, and probably what they're also doing with Edwin Cerrillo. Parente, they'll probably leave until the end of the season. But, I feel like this is more of a formality because they really wanted to keep this guy for the long term. They like him as a piece. Julian Ade could be on the block soon. We'll have to see. Could be on the chopping block. There could be interest within MLS for Julian Ade. We've heard that a few times too. Could there be? Shoot, I know a team that loves to collect Argentinians.
Near Miami. They got Reguilon, so
yeah.
Who knows?
But hey, they're stacking every position. Might as well have everybody from every position and have it twice. So yeah. But no, seriously, there is teams that I'm sure would be very interested in Julian Ade within MLS, but I don't think this move points to it more than rewarding John Nelson for his hard work throughout, the past few years as an LA Galaxy player. So congratulations to John Nelson. Hopefully we'll have you on the pod soon. And yeah, I guess thanks for responding to Memes DMs all the time.
Hell yeah.
Anyway, this one is definitely Tab. To answer that question.
That's just not true. You don't know what the videos he'd be sending to the group chat. Let's just put it that way.
What?
You know what you sent today. You watching Champions League and you're doing something.
It was
You know what I'm
Jerome
talking about.
Kwanzaa ball, buddy. Hey, that's what Kwanzaa ball does to a fella. Okay, anyway. Yeah, it's got to be Tab. It has to be Tab Diddy, as they're saying in the chat. It has to be Tab Diddy. So that would be my answer on that. We're gonna wrap it up here. We honestly, I know we hyped it up for a lot of news at the start. There honestly wasn't that much besides the Nelson extension. I'm very Liverpool play tomorrow, buddy.
Bro.
Liverpool play tomorrow. No, seriously though, I just thank you guys for all of the support of the podcast. Like and subscribe if you already haven't. Hopefully we'll be back next week with news on the number 10. I think right now having one podcast a week is like perfect. I can't imagine all the other podcasts like, Lacuna and COG who do this twice a week. I'm like, damn, what do they even talk about? Like, what do they even talk about for like 3 hours total during the week when the biggest news we have is Nasty Nas coming back?
That's been rumored for like the whole season.
Yeah.
I swear it was pretty much proven. We've seen photos of him in training, I think last week when it was the first day, and I saw him in the photo today. So I mean he's been training, so I guess that's some news that people haven't been saying. That's the breaking news for tonight. Nasty Nas has been training with the team and he's not officially signed.
Wow, dude, this is riveting.
LA Galaxy fashion.
Yeah, riveting information here from the Talking Galaxy studios. And then on a personal note, the final thing is that I will no longer be running LA Galaxy Buzz on Instagram. That will be handed to me.
That will moment of silence.
Oh, okay, you just ruined it. Yeah, nice.
No,
good respect, Pratt.
I don't see anyone in the comment for the next 30 seconds. All right, starting now.
This is not gonna last.
Bro, you're ruining your own minute of silence.
I don't deserve it. No, seriously though, El Chris will be taking over the account, aka the Galaxy Lad. I've not officially turned this account fully over yet. We're in the process of transitioning. Well, not like that, but you know what I mean.
You're becoming a girl.
Yeah. Breaking news from the Talking Galaxy studios. I am in the process of becoming a woman.
All right, that's getting clipped. You're talking about me getting clipped earlier for saying leaking or dropping the towel or something, and you're saying that.
Anyway,
my thing, you're getting clipped in that's going on the Instagram, and yeah, I'll make sure Memes accepts a collab.
Anyway, I will be stepping down from the account and passing it over. This has not fully happened yet, but it will happen before the start of the MLS season due to obligations that the Galaxy Lad has right now. I do plan on being involved in certain things still, and especially this podcast does not impact anything on this podcast. But, moving on to the next chapter of, things in content creation, I felt like this is the best step for myself. So, little side piece of information, but thank you all for the support. Also got named best MLS content creator for the MLS-CC tournament. So that, thank you guys for, your support along the way, and shout out, did the Caps win? Amazing page too. And it ended in a tie. There was over 1,100 votes and it ended in a draw. Unreal. Just, you can't write that. So yeah, thank you guys for the support through everything. We will be back on Tuesday. Once again, we'll have live watch alongs during the season. Tab, do you have something to say?
Before we go, what is your favorite moment from the page, would you say? I'll tell you mine after. I have one that sticks out very fondly in my memory. I think you may know what it is.
Like,
do you have one?
Favorite post?
It could be post, could be just engagement with comment with the fans.
Oh, I don't like where this is going. My favorite post was, okay, I have two that come to mind. One of them I'd delete almost instantly. It was a graphic that Jody made for an El Trafico. and he
Oh.
misspelled Los Angeles, and it said Los Angles, and it said Los Angles. And I saw it, and I saw the first comment pop up, and it was like Los Angles, and I'm like, what is this guy talking about? And I look at the post, and I'm like, uh-oh. I had to take it down immediately, and I'm like, Jody, you're an absolute idiot. The next thing that comes to mind, let's see, another Jody PSD post is the Ricky Risen one. Was
That's
pretty
what I was just
hilarious.
The black one.
Yeah, the what?
The incident.
Sorry, what? No. It was this
The
part.
incident.
Yeah, it was the incident. Yeah. So shout out Ricky Risen, the absolute terrible graphic. So yeah, that would be my favorite moment from the account, but also just weird posts like this, like Tim Cheese is an LAFC fan.
Oh god.
But yeah, Tab, what's your moment?
Oh, mine was the Ryzen incident.
Oh, perfect. Thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks. I'm glad we had the same moment. Dude, the comments are so funny on that.
I know. I was reading through it again, and yeah.
You know,
What a time to be alive.
We finished early. Pause. We have time. We have time to go through these comments here.
Bro, I'm trying to eat my tacos.
Bro, you don't need any more tacos, buddy. We got comments. First comment, hella tripping. That's a no from me, dog. Tripping. What the F? That's not it. This cannot be it. My humans make better stuff for me on Canva. Maybe they could do something better. From Mauricio Disfuegos. Graphic design is my passion. Tripping. Not good. Trash. Tripping. Looks like a training shirt. Tripping. Ugly ass. Horrible. Caca tripping. Ugly, and ugly. No creativity. So thank you all for the support through everything. Appreciate you all. And yeah, those comments are hilarious. So shout out Jody PSD for that one. All right. I hope you enjoy your tacos, Galaxy memes. That is all for me. If you guys have anything else, no? All right, we're gonna wrap it up. Hour 26 minutes, not too bad. The last one random was 5 hours, so we're wrapping up a little early. So guys, where can people find you, LA Galaxy memes?
You guys can find me at Talkin Galaxy on Instagram. I'm retired too. You know, I got bigger things to do. You know, college and
Wait, where do you go to college?
I go to UC Irvine. Do not come find me at Costa Long Beach. Please do not, especially if I'm with my friends. Do not mention this account, please.
Wait, I have a perfect idea. When you guys see him, you should be like, wait, are you LA Galaxy memes on Instagram? And pull up the post that he's made.
I'm pretty sure this has happened in the past as well, right?
Someone took a picture of me and sent it to Peyton and said, is this Galaxy memes? And we're flaming my height. Guys, I'm like 5'10". I'm not 5'4". Just stop those allegations, you know, please.
Yeah. All right. Well, Cal State Long Beach is where you can find that man, or Talkin Galaxy on Instagram. Tab, where can people find you?
You can find me at Galaxy Runs LA over on Instagram, X, and TikTok.
As for myself, I am Anfield Headlines _ on Instagram, or Talkin Galaxy on TikTok now. Make sure you go follow the TikTok account if you haven't. Like and subscribe to this. And yeah, we will see you guys next Tuesday at 8 p.m. Thanks for the support, guys.